All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of To The Show Baseball Podcast presented by Beyond the Monster. I am your host, Andrew Parker, and today's episode, we are going to the Kansas City Royals system. The newest 40-man roster member, Steven Zobac, joined the show. Obviously, I talked to him about what it's like being on the 40-man roster for the first time in his career, and obviously the adversity he faced last year with some injuries and what he's looking forward to here in the next year. And before I do shoot to the interview and quit yapping, whether you're watching me on YouTube right now, which it does look like I have a spotlight on me, so I do apologize for that. I'm in the new house, but if you're watching me on YouTube, listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please like, subscribe. The YouTube channel is newer, and I'm trying to make a big push right there on subscribers. So if you could just like, subscribe, comment, tell me I'm doing a good job, bad job. I want to hear it. Yeah, I will quit yapping without further ado. Let me shoot you on to the interview with Steven Zobac. All right, I'm joined by Steven Zobac, who is one of the newest members of the Kansas City Royals 40-man roster at this offseason. That's exactly where I want to start. Steven, I feel like, getting that phone call when that day did come back in November of you being added to the 40-man roster probably had to be one of the better moments of your 2025. How was that experience for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think 2025 in a nutshell for myself was just constant ebbs and flows. With getting the PRP shot earlier in the year, it not really taking, then having that issue out in Wichita, then having to get surgery on the knee. I thought there was absolutely no chance that they were going to protect me. There was some idea that maybe, the Rule 5 draft stuff coming up, maybe I'll get picked. But I just thought the year that I had and the injuries that I had, I didn't think there was an opportunity and a chance. And when I received that phone call, it was definitely one of the most surprising, better phone calls I've ever received from someone in the Royals organization or anybody, period. So I felt like it was definitely a testament to my ability earlier in my career, year before that kind of thing. And I just, I was very, very happy, and I'm still very happy. I get to go to big league camp. I get to do all the things that I grew up dreaming about doing. And it's just one step closer. So.
Was that call that you got added, was that probably, if you had to rank your moments in the big leagues, or just as part of being a professional baseball player, would it be getting drafted one, that too, or?
Honestly, I think getting drafted was probably two, just because there was a lot more communication. There was a lot of talk, like, oh, you're going to get picked in the 7th, roughly around the 7th. Oh, and then now it's the 6th, and now it's the 4th, and now it's okay. Kansas City wants you. Do you want to take it? All that stuff. So there's a lot of communication leading up. But then this one, it was wake up in the morning, you have no idea what's going on. My agent had no idea what was going on. Everything was behind closed doors. Random text while I was on the treadmill working out. Then bam, here you go. It was amazing. It was absolutely phenomenal. So that was probably number one for me, just because of how, I don't know, out of the blue it was, I guess.
Oh, okay. And I know, guys, sometimes I feel like a few guys, and a guy that we talked about before we started recording was also was in the same position as you back in 2020 in November, was David Samlin. And I feel like some guys are kind of like this. And I think David may have said something like this when he was on some sort of interview or podcast, but he was thinking about the Rule 5, but it was like, it's one of those things where it's like, if it happens, it happens. You have no control over it. Were you thinking about the Rule 5? Like, because I know obviously you said that, like, I might be protected, I might not because of the season I had. Like, was it on your mind at all throughout the year?
Yeah, I kind of, sort of. I think a lot of professional players at this stage understand now too that you got all of the firsts out of the way your first year. Moving to a new city, getting away from home, doing all that stuff. I had the luxury to go to Berkeley, which is 40 minutes away from my house. So being away from family and all that stuff was extremely new. So once I got that out of the way, if I get picked up by another team, if I get traded, it's just, you've already done it. You've already dealt with most of that stuff. So I think for me, it wasn't necessarily on the back of my mind the whole time. It was more of just trying not to play manager, I guess, so that was kind of my perspective of that this past year.
Yeah, I feel like it's easier said than done sometimes, where
For
it's like you
sure.
got to be where your feet are, but it's like it's hard. I feel like it's got to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's extremely difficult, especially with every outing that you have. You can't help but think about something creeping in, whether it was a good one, a bad one, injury. It's difficult, really difficult. But when you just take a step back and one Mississippi it's easier to get back on track for sure.
Well, I do have, you had kind of brought up a little bit about some of the adversity that you faced this past year with injuries, and obviously you missed some time. I know you missed a month, I think, right after April, and you missed some time at the end of the year, and and that's something I don't want to harp on it because I know that's obviously not like a real positive thing, and I bet you probably didn't have a good time being injured as
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
does,
yeah.
but I guess like dealing with that adversity this year with the injuries and what you talked about earlier, like what did that do for your mindset, coming into the offseason, being like, okay, this year wasn't the year that I had planned. You probably had several goals that you weren't able to hit just due to not being on the field as much as you probably would like to. So what does that
Yeah.
do to you going into the offseason?
Yeah, I think learning from the year, understanding what my body's capable of, also understanding what my body's not capable of, pushing it to the limit. Everyone does at this level, and feeling what I felt and understanding, okay, that could possibly lead to surgery is definitely helping me with understanding what I need to do on and off the field. Take the time in the treatment room if I need to, or don't get treatment if I don't, because sometimes, you overdo it. So I think this off season was definitely a step in the right direction as far as routine, mentality, preparation, and just allowing my body just to succeed the way it needs to. And as far as mentality goes, it's just, you can create a plan, like Mike Tyson once said, everyone has a plan. It's great until you get punched in the face. And I mean, at the end of the day, you got to just roll with it. You just got to roll. So
I've done over 200 of these episodes, and you're the first guy to quote Mike Tyson, so I do appreciate that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
do love that. I've had Anchorman be quoted. I've had everything else, but that's the first. So I do appreciate that one.
yeah, of course.
Um, so you had brought this up as well earlier, and I think it's worth asking. And you talked about you're going to big league camp this year. You're on the 40 man. You're going to be in the big league locker room. So in regards to going into your first official major league spring training, what kind of things are you looking forward to the most in this experience coming up?
Honestly, just the energy. Like I've said in a podcast before, last year when I got invited unofficially, the energy is so different. I mean, they were coming off a great season. Everything was going strong. We just got an extension for the head coach, all that stuff. I mean, the energy is going to be spectacular in the clubhouse. We want to get a good season. We got a bunch of guys coming back, and just seeing just the dynamic in the locker room is way different than I would have ever expected. I was welcomed in with open arms. It wasn't pushed away. So I mean, the clubhouse itself is just spectacular. So I'm really excited for that. I'm also excited just to play some really competitive baseball again. It's been a while since I've felt like I've been in the proper mindset and shoes, with the injury and everything. So to get back after this surgery, off season, everything, and get back to playing some real competitive baseball is going to be a lot of fun.
And in you in particular, now being part of the organization for a few years now, what have you thought about just playing with in the Royal system and dealing with their pitching development? Like, what has your experience been like with the Royals and their pitching development and their philosophies?
I think it's been a phenomenal uh, combination of them giving you information, them helping you out without asking, and also not giving you information and not helping you if you don't ask. So they've taken a lot of time and a lot of effort into having all of these steps available for you if you wanted to take them, but also giving you the leeway to wait to ask. I feel like a lot of places they'll just bombard you with information. Here's all this stuff. You have to do this. You have to do this, and the micromanaging of everything. I mean, this org so far that I have experienced hasn't been in any way like that. It's been very hands off, giving you the information that they feel is extremely necessary for you. But when you do ask, the floodgates can absolutely open with that stuff. So it's really nice knowing that. Obviously, I haven't been on any other orgs, so I don't know if it's the same everywhere else. But so far, this organization has just been lights out spectacular for me.
So what and you brought up a good point there. You know, I've talked to guys at all around different organizations. You know, you have friends probably all around different organizations as well around baseball. And I feel like every org is different but alike in ways. And I feel like one way that some organizations differ, especially on the pitching side of things, is maybe they want to, you know, maybe they're sweeper heavy where they want all their new guys to throw sweepers, or maybe they're doing something different with, you know, less off speeds, whatever it is. In regards to you and your path in the system so far, has when you joined the organization, like how different has your, let's just say, your arsenal looked? How has your velocity looked? Like how have you evolved over the years as a pitcher?
Yeah, I think the velocity stayed the same. I don't think it's changed that much. I think the arsenal is the biggest component. I've always had my slider. I used to have a two seam. I used to have a cut. I used to have like two different curveballs. I used to have all this stuff in college because it was just go out there and compete and pitch and see what happens. I think the moment I got into camp, first time getting drafted, we banged a lot of that stuff. At first, I was confused because I didn't understand analytics. I didn't understand the numbers, all that stuff. And once I started buying in and realizing like my two seam was actually horrible. Did not mesh well with any of my other pitches. The old changeup I had was lowered or lowered arm slot plus no movement. It's so going and realizing like all of the things that they did get rid of were actually extremely beneficial, and they didn't cookie cut me in any way. I wasn't sat down and said, "Hey, you're going to pitch exactly like this other guy." It's not like that at all. So it's been really nice as far as the arsenal goes.
So I'm gonna put you into the time machine here real quick with me, and
Okay.
you're coming up now. That's 2026 officially. You're
Mhm.
coming up on almost 4 years now in professional
Yeah.
baseball since you were drafted. So I like asking this question because I think it's fascinating the answers that I get. But I'm going to take you back to your draft year. You know, you sign the paper. You're officially a member of the Orioles organization. Has the journey been what you thought it was going to be, or did you not expect to be in this situation now? Like, what, in your words, like what would you think it has been like so far?
Yeah, it's been chaotic, but extremely um I don't how do you know how to explain it? It's if you would have told me 5 years ago that I would be sitting here doing an interview being asked about what it feels like to be on the 40-man roster, I would have told you, yeah, you're nuts. I think it
Okay.
was a definite dream of mine. Obviously I'm going to do everything in my power to get into this position, but I think every athlete in existence always thinks extremely low of themselves and expects the absolute most out of themselves. So it's for me, if I think too much into, yeah, I'll be at this point in the next year or whatever, you're just asking to be let down. Um, but also understanding my ability and being like, I'm here. I understand why I'm here and the reasons why I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. So I guess if I don't know if that answered your question, but it's
Oh,
it's
it
just
did.
been it's just been a roller coaster. It's been an absolute roller coaster from going to Columbia to Iowa to visiting places I've never heard of before. Kinston, North Carolina, for example. I didn't even know that was a real place. Um, and it's just been a really cool experience overall. So yeah.
Yeah, that's and I think that's like something that maybe if people are a little newer to baseball or maybe they aren't as familiar with like the minor leagues, but you know, development isn't linear. Like it's
No,
never no two paths.
no.
Or I say this like, you know, you might have a path very, very similar to another guy that you're maybe
Yeah.
even in a clubhouse with, but go-to passer like, man. It's
Yeah.
like it takes some guys 10 years to get there. It takes some guys 2 years. We're seeing now with Trey Savage in the World Series. Actually, it didn't even take him a year. But it just no two are alike. So I guess that is a tough question. I do apologize for putting you on the spot there.
No, you're good. You're good. It's you hit it. You hit the nail on the head there for sure. I mean, I've met guys who were extremely talented that didn't have the mindset, and the guys that have had the mindset that weren't talented, and they just find ways to get there. I've seen guys get drafted all the way as late as like, well, now they don't have it, but 26th round, and make it all the way. Some guys in the first round don't, and it's baseball at the end of the day.
Oh yeah. Those are some of those undrafted guys, man. Those are my favorite stories. And
It's awesome
when you see them making their debut. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
You actually kind of led me into one of my next questions here, but you were kind of talking about seeing some of these new towns and cities that you never even thought you'd be in. Through the minor league schedule, it takes you all sorts of different places. But you're a California guy, so I trust your food takes and your food opinion. I am not a California guy, but I know California's got great food. So has there been any places that you have been pleasantly surprised about the food scene that you've been to?
Yeah, I think a large majority of it has to associate with barbecue in some way. California is phenomenal. Italian food, Mexican food, like everything you can possibly think of. I've yet to find a absolute solid barbecue place, and go anywhere in the South and you'll find one. Kansas City, for example, has some of the best barbecue. Personally, my favorite barbecue I've ever had in my life. So I don't know if that's biased, but it's just great. It's really, really good. And yeah, I think as far as food goes, Frisco, Texas had some really good Hispanic food, Mexican food. I know there's a place in Columbia that I used to go to all the time, South Carolina, called Railroad Barbecue. Phenomenal, drop dead. Kansas City's got their pick of the litter. I mean, you could just choose any spot there, and it's great. So I think, I don't know.
You nailed it. Barbecue was the answer I was kind of looking for, because I know obviously don't really have it as much in California, but did we officially get you on the Whataburger over In-N-Out train?
No, it's
that's fair.
It's gonna take years for that to happen. I mean, I know Bobby Witt's a big Whataburger guy.
Oh yeah.
I just can't help it. In-N-Out is just gonna be superior to me.
That's fair. Just had to ask. I am unbiased. I'm originally from St. Louis, so I don't have any, but I lived in Texas for a few years, so I might be biased, I guess. And but both of them are down there. They have In-N-Outs and they have Whataburgers. I just thought Whataburger was better, but it's probably because I was further away from California. I don't know. Maybe they did it on purpose.
That is a thing I've noticed, going to the ones in California, especially the ones nearest to the coast, and then also going to the ones in Texas, it does change a little bit. However,
Whataburger, the Arizona ones.
Yeah. However, Whataburger, I've yet to go to one where I was like, this is a lot different than the other one. So maybe the consistency is going to bring me on that train, but it's gonna take some time. We're gonna have to have some serious meals.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm unbiased. I do like things from each one, but I had to ask. I know you're a California guy. I knew what that answer was going to be.
Absolutely.
All right. So obviously we've talked a lot about, you on the field and throughout this year and everything, but I got to know, like, so if every Monday in the minor league baseball season is an off day. So if you're not on the bus going somewhere, or if you're not doing whatever, if you're not at the field, you're not training, throwing, anything, like, what are you doing in your free
time? I like to fish a lot. That's one of the big things. When we were in Iowa, that was prevalent. I mean, we had this little pond. I don't even know if it was accessible. I've seen a couple people fish there, but as far as like the legality of everything, I didn't see any signs, didn't see anything. So I fished that almost every day. I mean, I was out there for sure every Monday, and then throughout the week, periodically in the mornings. Arkansas was a little bit tougher to find. They have Beaver Lake there, but it's a big lake, so it's difficult to kind of get out there without a boat. And then golf, love golf.
Yeah,
I'm not very good. Not very good at it. Not very good at it. It's more of, I should say more of swinging. I love swinging the club and
Okay.
not exactly golfing, I guess.
You're just one of us. I mean, it's
Yeah.
okay if you're not the best, but
Yeah.
you're one of us.
Yeah.
It's something that you left out, and I tried to prep you about this a little bit before we started, but I got a celebrity guest question, and our celebrity guest had a question, and he wanted to know, what was your experience like hiking Camelback Mountain?
Oh, yeah. So we were in Crown Club. It was a club that I don't know if they still do it here with the Royals. But it was first year, and it was, oh man, it had to have been like late October. I mean, it's still
Oh
111
yeah,
degrees down here.
hot as
So
hot, man.
super hot. And we all get information every week what we're going to be set out to do. And on Tuesday, we see hike Camelback Mountain. And I grew up backpacking with my dad, so I'm like, it's not going to be that big of a deal. I had looked up on the Onyx Hike app that I have and share with my dad, and I see it was like 3 miles, 4 miles, not bad, but it has some outrageous amount of elevation gain. I mean, I'm talking thousands of feet, and I realized that it's going to be straight uphill. So the bus time was like 5:30 in the morning, 5:15 to beat the heat. It was still hot. I mean, we were walking down Camelback and it was still hot. But it was an outrageous hike. I mean, it was one of the hardest hikes I've ever done in my life. I don't know how people do it. And we're walking down, and me and Dave were like breathing super heavy, and all of a sudden we see this guy. I mean, he's got to be 60 years old. He's running up this thing that we just hiked, and he runs past us before we enter the trailhead, and we're it's unbelievable. But yeah, it's a tough one. That's a tough hike for sure.
Okay, so we can assume that hiking's not in your day off activities, or
No, 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 no.
okay,
Let's leave the actual physicality for the field, and then bring some golf into the equation every once in a while.
all right, I love it. Yeah, you don't those off days, man. You can't be spending them doing that kind of stuff. You
No,
will
no.
you would be taxed for the week.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Uh,
think the knee surgery is gonna keep me from doing that. Give me an excuse, I should say.
There it is. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that was the celebrity guest question. He really wanted that one asked. I
Yeah.
didn't ask questions. I'm like, I'll ask. So
Yeah.
that was brought to you by David Sandlin. So
Perfect.
that was it. But all right, I got one last question left that I do like to usually end these on. And well, are you a goals guy at all? Like, do you like setting goals like before the year, or like New Year's resolution, anything like that?
Yeah, I think our family, we don't really set goals, but we do like this, what can I work on this year kind of thing. And it always ends up getting into like some kind of verbal battle between each other because we start with how can I better myself? And then it ends up turning into what they find annoying and how can I change that to better them? And it's just like, okay, we got
Yeah, we
we got to
stay
move.
away from this.
Yeah, we got to move past this point. But as far as goals and stuff, it's just, I mean, this year it's just as simple as stay healthy as best as I can. Last year it was try to squeak through the door at Omaha and see what we can do. I think setting outrageous goals is just, that's, you're asking too much of yourself to be let down. But yeah, as far as goals go, just go out and compete best you can, stay healthy.
Okay. Yeah,
Mm.
I never like asking like, hey, what are your goals for this year? Because it's one of those things where it's like some guys aren't really goals. Like they don't want to set statistical goals
Yeah,
or personal or whatever it is. But if you had to put yourself, let's just say we are October 1st right now of
yeah,
2026, where would you like to be?
man, that's a tough question.
Tough
Uh,
one.
Ideally, the answer would definitely be in the bigs. Obviously, just playing for the Kansas City Royals and giving us a good shot to get into the postseason, World Series run, all of that stuff. I mean, that's out there for one of the obvious answers, but as far as just a logistical one, I don't think I can give you one. It's just stay healthy. Work all the way through and keep playing baseball in October. Get into November, win a World Series, and get to wear some gold on the jerseys and hats next year.
There it is. Well, Steven, I apologize for asking the hardest question last, and I do apologize for bringing up Camelback Mountain once again with the PTSD there. But thank you so much for doing this and hopping on. And we obviously rooting for you and wishing for a healthy 2026 from you. But thank you for doing this.
Andrew, thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure.